Today, we're pulling back the curtain on some of the most important and most overlooked allies we have, the body's hidden helpers. Okay, let's just jump right in with a pretty mind-bending idea. Think about this. You are not just one organism. Nope. You're more like a walking, talking ecosystem. I mean, literally, billions of tiny life forms are living on and inside you as we speak. So here's the big question. What if the secret to fighting some of our toughest diseases isn't some brand new drug we have to invent, but something that's already a part of you? Now, you've probably heard a ton about the gut microbiome, right? It gets all the attention. But that's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Today, we're going to explore two other hidden worlds that are just as critical. The one inside our lungs and the living shield that covers our entire body, our skin. So first up, let's head into the lungs. And to do that, we're going to have to start by tearing down a scientific myth that people believed for more than 100 years. For the longest time, for over a century, medical textbooks were all in agreement on one thing. Healthy lungs are sterile. The thinking was they're supposed to be pristine, microbe-free zones. That was just a fundamental fact of medicine.
But then our technology got way better. A 2011 study using modern genetic sequencing just blew that old idea out of the water. They found, and I'm quoting here, that, quote, the lungs are not sterile during health. And just like that, 100 years of accepted wisdom was completely overturned.
So if they're not empty, what's actually in there? Well, it turns out healthy lungs have what's called a core microbiome, a pretty consistent neighborhood of bacteria. Things like Pseudomonas and Streptococcus are just normal residents. They're supposed to be there. And this is where things get really interesting, because this discovery raised a huge question. We all know that not every smoker gets chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. So if having bacteria in your lungs is normal, what's going on? Why do some people's lung ecosystems seem to collapse into disease while other people stay perfectly healthy? And the answer is right here, and it's pretty shocking. When scientists compared healthy lungs to the lungs of people with severe COPD, the big reveal wasn't the amount of bacteria. That was pretty much the same. No, the critical difference was diversity. Healthy lungs were like a bustling city, full of all sorts of different residents. But the lungs with severe COPD, that city had become a ghost town. The variety was gone. So let's be really clear about this, because it's a huge shift in thinking. The problem in severe COPD isn't that bacteria are there. They should be. The real problem is a catastrophic loss of diversity. Think of a vibrant rainforest being bulldozed and replaced with a single crop. The ecosystem itself has crashed. Okay, so let's leave the lungs and travel to the surface of the body for our second case study. It's time to talk about the skin's living shield, your own team of microscopic bodyguards. And what's wild is that a very similar story plays out right on our skin. We see it especially in a condition called atopic dermatitis. You probably know it as eczema. People with this condition often have a really hard time with flare-ups caused by one particular bacterial troublemaker, Staphylococcus aureus. See, on healthy skin, you've got this beautiful, balanced community. And it's dominated by a group of protective bacteria, often called cons for short. These are the good guys, the guardians of your skin's kingdom, and they're supposed to be in charge. But now look what happens in atopic dermatitis. It's a total mess. The ecosystem is completely out of balance. Those protective CoNS bacteria, their numbers have absolutely plummeted. And look what's taken over, that pathogen, S. aureus. The guardians have been overwhelmed, and the invaders have basically stormed the castle. So researchers had to ask, are these good guys just passive bystanders, or are they actively fighting back? So they ran this really elegant experiment. First, they screened thousands of bacteria from healthy skin, and what they found was amazing. Certain good species, like S. epidermidis, were actually producing their own specialized, targeted antibiotics. So they took these good bacteria, put them on skin samples in the lab, and boom, they confirmed it. The good guys specifically sought out and destroyed S. aureus. And this is the key takeaway for our skin story. In atopic dermatitis, it's not just a random numbers game. The real problem is the loss of a critical function. The skin's ecosystem has lost its built-in defense system. It's forgotten how to fight back. Okay, so we've looked at lungs, we've looked at skin, two totally different parts of the body, two different diseases. But there's a powerful idea that connects them both. It all comes down to the power of balance. It's all about the ecosystem. This really puts it all into perspective. Two very different diseases, but they share the same root cause. With COPD in the lungs, it's a loss of diversity. With atopic dermatitis on the skin,
It's a loss of a specific protective function. They're two different roads, but they both lead to the same place, a weak, unbalanced ecosystem that's vulnerable to disease. And there's a scientific name for this state of chaos. It's called dysbiosis, and it simply means a harmful imbalance in the body's natural community of microbes. And what we're learning is that this imbalance is a huge factor in all sorts of chronic diseases. Now, this isn't just cool science for a textbook. This new understanding is actually paving the way for a whole new type of medicine, one that isn't about killing germs, but about restoring balance. Let's take a look at what's on the horizon. And this is where it gets really, really exciting. In one trial, researchers actually took this idea and applied it to a real person. Get this, they isolated a patient's own protective skin bacteria, grew them up in the lab, and then mixed them into a simple lotion. They put this good guy lotion on one arm and a regular lotion on the other as a control. And the result? It was incredible. In just 24 hours, the levels of that harmful S. aureus had plummeted on the treated arm. This whole new approach has a name. It's called bacteriotherapy. Instead of just carpet bombing our bodies with antibiotics that kill the good guys along with the bad, bacteriotherapy uses beneficial microbes as a kind of living medicine to carefully restore balance and help the body heal itself. Which brings us to our final thought for today, a pretty big one. As we learn more and more about these amazing hidden helpers, you have to wonder, is the future of medicine going to be less about declaring war on germs and more about learning how to become better gardeners for our own incredibly complex and absolutely vital microbial ecosystems?